Hello everybody, and welcome back to another stream. Today we're back in XP12 and we have another new aircraft to show you guys, and today we're taking a look at the Cpt Iceman series Piper PA-44 for XP12, which just released last Saturday actually, so just exactly 1 week ago. It's a fantastic aircraft. We'll be taking a look at it, and also joining us on the stream is Cpt Iceman himself. So if you want to say hello.
Yeah, hello guys. I'm so pleased to be here in this stream from Drishal. Thank you so much for the invitation, and it's an honor for us and I'm speaking for the team to be here with you.
Fantastic, yeah, and thank you very much for joining us and providing a copy of the aircraft to this channel for the stream and stuff. Guys, let me know if the volumes and everything are all okay, and we'll jump right into it. So I'm gonna brief the route, show you guys some of the pretty cool features on the aircraft, and then we'll get going. So we are just flying two pretty short and simple legs today, all be VFR stuff, and we are flying from right hopefully I can pronounce this right, Eggermoen in Norway, and then we're gonna head to here, Echo November Oscar, which is Notodden, I think, and then from there we'll go to ENTO, which is Sandefjord. All right, so hopefully I pronounced that right. But yeah, so lovely VFR flying today in Norway, and thank you to Bernd, or N1 there, for providing the route and also the scenery as well. So here we have the Cpt Iceman series. Oh, I lost the scaling. That's better. There we are. And yeah, so here we have the Cpt Iceman series PA-44 Seminole for XP12, as you can see here, and it is a very, very nice aircraft. There is a link in the pinned comment for you guys if you do want to go ahead and check it out, and a link in the description as well. And yeah, you can see, just look at it, very, very nice. We've got some static elements here, so we've got shocks and some engine covers and pitot covers as well, I believe, over there. Really nice, all clickable, so you can just click them to engage or remove them as well. Hey Tucker, welcome to the stream. Frank Bite, welcome. Thank you very much. N1 Raul, welcome.
Pronunciation on top, so you did a good job.
Perfect, good. It's one of the things I actually quite enjoy, flying to different locations and, well, trying to figure out how to pronounce everything. But I'm glad we got that right. All right, so there are many liveries which come with this aircraft. I'll just show you guys very quickly here. We'll scroll through some of them. There's the first one, second one. Got some US liveries here. Very nice. A nice few different liveries. And you do also have a GNS 430 and 530 version of separate ACFs as well. Now, the aircraft, if I bring this onto screen here, bit of information here. There's an interactive POH which we can click, and I will show you guys that in a second. And then you have the single GPS. There's some options here, so single GPS, single GTN 750 with the RXP, so you do need to have the RXP GTN 750 to get that to work. And then you have dual GNS 430 or 530, and then there's also the old school variant, and I'll show you guys all of these bar the RXP because I don't have that, but I'll show you guys some of these options. Hey Andre, welcome. I know you were excited about this stream. Glad to see you here. And of course Avitab integration as well. And then there's this is a really cool point of the aircraft. I'll show you this as well. The refueling system and the oil system as well, which is really nice. And of course the static objects I showed here. But yeah, I'll show you these options now because they are really, really cool. So let's do that real quick. We're gonna jump into the aircraft here, And let's go ahead and just head outside real quick. And first I will show you the fuel system. So if we open this up, as you can see, we get a little fuse hose, and we also get a meter as well. Now if we go, I think it's here, weight and balance, we can see we've got some fuel in the engines with a very slight imbalance, and you can see all the weights, charts, etc. here, which is really nice. Very nicely weighed out, and it's easy to change as well. So you can change where you can remove a pilot or add there just by click on it, and then you can use the scroll wheel to change the weights as well. So we'll put 2 in there. You can adjust the cargo and stuff like that in the back here, or baggage. Now fuel, you need to adjust, so you can click to refill the O2 level here as well. Fuel, we're going to use the fuel system which comes with the aircraft. So let me just close this, and here we are. So now I've clicked this panel, it's opened, and we have the fuel hose and the meter. And if I just click the handle here, there we are. We can start filling up the aircraft. So let's do. I'm not entirely sure how much fuel this uses per hour, but they're pretty short flights, so
It's around like 11 gallons per engine per hour.
Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and let's do something like 15 or 16. Gives us a little bit of reserve. The flights are quite short. I think they're only about 20 minutes each. Let's go ahead and do that. That should be about right. A lot more than the Cessna 152 I'm used to flying. That's only 6 gallons an hour. So we can fill up the aircraft. And we'll just go up to 16. And we had 2 already in there. And then to close it, just close it just like that. Really nice. I do like that feature. And again with the oil, you can open the oil and you can check it as well. So if we zoom in here, see if we can get a slightly better angle here. There we are. You can see obviously the red indication, the green indication, which is empty and full, and the white indication is where the oil is. And if you do need to top it up today, we don't. If you do need to top it up, click on the oil canister and it'll top up. So we'll close that. We can head over to the other side and do the same. Really nice features. Much nicer than just refueling the plane from a UI sort of element. It's nice actually sort of doing it like this. It reminds me of when I'm flying in real life. And we'll add some fuel here as well. Perfect.
Yeah, we try to do it an organic experience for the guys, you know, like as you said, when you go and then just preparing your flight, you go there, you add the fuel, you see how many gallons you need per tank, and also a reminder that the oil system, it consumes oil at the real rate of an aircraft. So you should check from time to time your oil levels, otherwise you will break your engines if they run out of oil. And something that I want to add additionally is that with everything is a persistence model. So everything that the way you left the aircraft is the way it's going to load the next time. So it's going to keep the fuel amount where you left. It's going to keep the oil amount that it was consumed. And yeah, the chocks and the pitot and the covers and everything, it's going to be there the way you left it. So if you removed everything, it's going to be, next time you load the aircraft, it's going to be removed. And yeah, that's part of our persistence model.
Yeah, really cool. It really does add a lot of immersion because, you know, it's sort of your aircraft. It stays how you left it from your previous flight. You got to look after it, you know, with the fuel and oil and stuff. So it really does add a lot. And being able to do it not, you know, through a UI, but actually physically doing it like I've just done here is fantastic.
We try to avoid all these flying menus. Just have, you know, like where you just have like an iPad and then you just click there and remove and that stuff. So because that's not the way you would do it in a real aircraft. need to go out and then just remove the stuff or add it back.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll remove the chocks here and the engine covers, and then we'll remove this as well. So that is all good to go. And if you forget to remove those as well, you will get the associated sort of issues and failures as well if you do, for example, leave those on and forget about them. Alright, so we'll jump into the aircraft now, and just initially just taking a look around. Modeling and texture work is really nice. I've been reviewing quite a few GA aircraft recently, and a lot of the time sort of textures up here or down here aren't necessarily so good, but on this aircraft they are really nice, and everything looks very good indeed. Look at the seats as well, got a little Jetstream logo on there. All looks very good. If I bring this menu back up, you can also...
We hired,
oh yeah, go ahead.
We hired the good holstery.
Amazing. And yeah, so you can show or hide the passengers in the exterior view, the interior view. You can add some back here as well if we wanted to. And you can see this is now updated. We have 18 gallons aside, which is more than enough. Close that out here.
Yeah, something that's important to remind the people that are using the Seminole is that you can change the configuration only with the engines off. So if you plan to change your configuration of your avionics or whatever, you need to do it before you start the engines. Otherwise, yeah, you need to carefully choose your poison before starting your flight.
Great. And yeah, going more into the detail of in here, you can change the baro setting. As you can see here, from metric and imperial. I'll be keeping it on metric for now. And then here you can change your avionics package as well. So if you look to the right of the screen, obviously I can't select the GTN 750. I don't have it. But then we can have the dual GPS, or we can have no GPS, and we can go completely old school. So for now, I will stick it on single GPS, but we're not really going to be using it. We're just going to be IFR today. Sorry, VFR. And we'll close out of that. All right, so you do get a manual as well with the aircraft, so you get some really nice documentation as well. And this is a whole, let me zoom out a little bit. It's a whole Piper Seminole manual here as well, which is very useful, especially if you're trying to sort of learn the aircraft, learn what it can't and can do, which is very nice. And part of that is a normal, well, you get emergency and normal procedures as well. As you can see, if we scroll down a little bit, we've got preparation, pre-flight, outside cabin, before starting engines, and for the starting engines, you get starting engines in various situations. So cold weather, engines when hot, when flooded, with external power, etc. And then we've got taxiing before takeoff and everything you would want. So this is really useful as well, and then very nice that it's included.
Yeah, we went to include all the documentation pertaining to the aircraft. You know, it's we also included some other manuals like how to operate the bending skin radios, the DME, and all that, because yeah, our radios, they work as the real counterparts.
Yes, so all those manuals are introduced as well, and you know, we'll show some during the cruise, I think. But yeah, you get loads of menus for the different avionics packages and stuff, which is really nice. A lot of some developers don't provide any documentation, but this is really nice that Captain Iceman has provided them here. So let's go ahead and start the engines then. Well, we've moved all the static elements. Now this may not be, you know, 100% the procedure. I don't fly the PA-44 in real life, only the Cessna 152. But we'll do our best here. And of course there is the checklist as well. So I am just going to go on my second monitor and put that up. So let's go to engine start. Right. reset the levers here. I've got all these set to my Honeycomb Bravo. Works perfectly. Really nice to have as well. So let's see here. Master switch. Oh no, that's with external
So
power.
as a footnote, in this aircraft, you don't leave the props into the low pitch, into the high pitch position. You leave it in the low pitch position. So all the blue levers need to go all the way up.
So you just leave them here, pretty much, in this aircraft.
No, all the way up, and exactly
Perfect.
all the time. Even after turning off off the engine, you'll turn off the engines with those levers in the low pitch position, which is all the blue levers all the way up.
Right. Okay. So we don't actually really need to touch these then, I guess, during the flight.
Sorry.
So we don't need to touch these then during the flight. The blue.
No, yes, you need, because you need to adjust the RPMs. So those will come in play later. So those are actually getting the governors to work, which maintain the RPMs at a constant pitch. So this is an aircraft that has a constant pitch propeller. So that's another thing that's important. On the other side, for when they 150, they don't have a constant pitch. So the pitch, the RPMs are actually they're linked directly to the shaft of the engine. Whereas in this case, you have a governor that takes care of the amount of oil, the hydraulic, it's an oil hydraulic pressure that goes into the governor that actually keeps the prop at a constant pitch, regardless of the power that you are outputting from the engine.
I see. Right. Fantastic.
And also another footnote is like in this kind of aircraft, like general aviation aircraft, you always usually start with the left engine, because that's the one that is closer to you with a storm window when you're going to clear prop. And if you notice, like there's no door on the left side of the aircraft for the pilot to enter. So basically, if you are loading passengers and stuff, you start the engine first, the left engine, so you can leave the door open so you can board your passengers or leave the aircraft, if anything.
I see. Fantastic. So yeah, we'll start the left engine first, and you have the window which opens and you have nice sounds, and that will change the engine sounds as well.
Yeah, so in this case, you see the prop when you put the prop levers, the prop pitch levers out. Now that's in a feather position, so that will not be a good start. So you need to like first start and see that the props are going back to the low pitch position.
Right. So leave them like this for now, and then when I start,
No. Put it all the way forward.
Okay, yeah. I see. Okay, perfect. So let's go battery master on. And all right, alternators can go on as well. We'll check that the fuel is on both sides, which is down here. So that's on. You can have there we are, off or crossfeed as well. So we'll leave it on for now. And we will go left mixture for rich. And we'll just crank the throttle just a little bit, 1/4 inch. And all right. We'll go ahead and start the left engine then. So the fuel pump can go on. As you can see,
you leave the fuel pump off. It's just for priming.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can fit the engine.
All right. Okay. Perfect. So, all right, we'll leave that off then. Mags can go on, and then we'll hit the starter. There it is. Engine comes to life. And I'm not sure, on the PA-44, what do you set the RPMs at when you're just stationary?
You just leave it at low idle.
Okay, so we'll just leave it like that. So in the 152, we reset it to 1200. But that's obviously a very different aircraft. Anyway, we'll close this and we'll go ahead and do the same for the right engine. So mixture for rich, we'll just crank the throttle slightly mag's on, and we'll hit the starter. There it is, and just reset the throttle back down. All right, so we got a good start on the engines. T's and P's are all good, and we do have a positive charge. So let's get the avionics on. Nav and recognition should have been on. Get the radios on, and I'll just turn the brightness up slightly. There we are. Very nice. All right, so here you can see the hey, Shipdub, welcome. Hey, Pilot Deviation, welcome. How's it going? Oh yes, the RSG Garmin G5. People are asking about in the comments.
Yeah, the Seminole comes with the G file already like included, but it's from RSG, so you need to have the RSG to be able to enable it, and you enabled it also from the POH.
Fantastic. So we're not really going to be using the GNS 530 here, but just to show you that it's all here and working. Very, very nice. All right. So, oh, and there is the, is it a Johnson flap, is it? That's what it's called in this aircraft?
Yep, that's what it's called. It's mechanical flaps. So they are attached directly to the lever.
Yes, so if I hit the flaps button on my Honeycomb Bravo, you can see that the flap lever moves instantly, and therefore so do the flap, because they're not electrical at all. If I hold it, however, you can see they come up or come down slowly, which is really nice as well. It's a very nice feature. So we'll leave them up for now. That's something to note when you are flying this aircraft. So let's see here. Just grab my Navigraph. All right. So we should be pretty much good to taxi here, and then we'll do some checks. In fact, well, the runway's only there. Let's do the checks now. So everything here looks okay for now. We'll turn the landing and strobes on when we get close, when we enter the runway. Alright, so. And like I said, if you do open or close the window, the sounds change. Very, very nice. So, let me bring the checklist up on my second screen, go over to the power checks. Alright, so before takeoff, ground check then. Parking brake is on, mixture is fully forward, prop controls fully forward as well. Prop sync manual, where's the, I couldn't find a prop sync on this from the checklist.
This doesn't have a prop sync switch.
Got you, okay, that's what I thought, perfect. Throttle controls to 1500 RPM. Set both to 1500. All right, nice sounds. And then prop controls check feathering. So here, what's the procedure for this then?
You grab one of the controls, let's like the left engine first, and then you pull it down like fast and recover it fast. So you'll see that the props will change the RPMs, and you do it like 3 times just to check the governors are working.
Okay. So something like that.
Yep. Exactly.
Perfect. And we'll do the right engine as well then.
And then the check here is that you will recover the 1500. That will assure you that the governors are working properly.
There you are. Yep. So they're working there. Both back to 1500. And alright, throttle controls to 2000. So we'll do that now then. So 2000, and check it again. Okay. And recovering to 2000, do the right engine. Recovering to 2000, fantastic. And prop controls fully forward, which they are. Carb heat check. So carb heats are down here, currently off. And if we just turn it on, you'll see a slight drop in the RPM there. And back up. Slight drop in the RPM. And back up. Alright. So carb heats checked. Mags, let's do the mags now. So we should see a slight drop, max drop of 175 RPM with a max difference between the left and right being 50 RPM. So we'll do the left engine mags first. So if you can watch here, left mag off, you can see a slight drop there, but that's within limits. Back to both, check the right mag, and there's a drop, and the difference between the left and the right mag drop is less than 50 RPM, so that's fine. Back to both, and we'll do the same for the left engine then. There's a drop, about 100 RPM, so well within limits. There's the right one. Back to both, and mags are good. Alternator output then, you can see we have a positive charge on both sides, which is good. And throttles 800 to 1000. There we are. And right, fuel selectors are on. We already checked that. Electric fuel pumps on. Alternators are on. Engine gauges in the green, so temperatures and pressures all fine. Same for our fuel pressure as well. You can see how much fuel we have there. Non-sensor panel, can click this to test that, so all of those have lit up, so that's perfect. And then altimeter, so we do need to set that actually. So unfortunately Navigraph doesn't give QFE, so for now we'll do QNH, since we are flying cross country anyway. So 0977, so let's put that in. Although that's going negative. Let me double check that. 0977. That QNH that Navigraph is giving me is taken as negative. Which obviously it shouldn't be. So you know what, we'll just reset to this to 0 for now, as if we're on QFE. We're not live weather, that's why, no wonder. We're not live weather, so we'll just leave it at that for now. That'll work just fine. Everything else is good. Just checking here. Carb heat, we'll make sure that's off for takeoff, which it is.
Or you can adjust it to the field elevation.
Yes, that's true. Actually, yeah, let's do that. Let me work out what the field elevation here is from Navigraph, if it gives it to me. 654 feet, let's do that. So there we are, 650 roughly. Alright. 1015 makes sense. There's we know live weather, so we're just at ISA. So right, back to the checklist here. Carb heat off, cow flaps set. Right, so cow flaps, could you maybe explain what these are, when they're used, etc.?
The cow flaps, if you go outside the aircraft, you'll see that under the engine there are the flaps, the cow flaps that are opened, and that helps when you are on the ground or a lower RPM or in climbing. You know, it helps to vent the engines from the intake, and then the airflow goes through the intake of the engines, of the cowlings, and then it goes below that. Of course, when you're in cruise flight, You have more air coming through the radiators of the engines, and then you can close them because they cause drag, those guys. So you need to close them when you're on cruise flight, and you can control the engine temperature a little bit, of course, with the cowling flaps. So if the engine temperature is going high and you have the cowl flaps closed, you can open them, and then you should have more vent, and engine temperature should come down, as well as you can control the temperature of the engine and the cylinder's head with the mixture. So if you are too lean, the cylinder heads will come hotter. So you will need to enrich the mixture a little bit based on the EGTs, so you can keep a good cylinder head and engine temperature as well as oil temperature.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for explaining that again. the Cessna I fly doesn't have that, so this is much more advanced than what I'm used to in real life. But it's all useful.
If I remember well, the 182, it has a cowling flap.
Ah, okay.
But of course, it has also like a constant prop pitch.
Yes. All right, let's set our trim. Good job we checked that because it was all the way in the up position. So we'll put that to neutral. There we are, neutral. And everything else is good to go. We don't need pitot heat. All right, let's do a quick flight control check. So very quickly, everything is seemingly working. You can see the ailerons. Unfortunately, in the Piper, you can't look behind you and check the elevators and rudder. In the 152, it's quite nice. You can just look through the back.
Yeah.
All right. So lights on. We'll get the landing lights on and the strobes. And all right. So let me go to the takeoff section of the. There we are. So normal takeoff, no flap. That should be okay. We'll taxi to the runway, which is just here. And we have no wind or anything. It's just clear skies on the weather today. Perfect.
Yeah, scenery looks nice.
Yeah, we got auto running, got the custom airport as well. And the links to all of these, the aircraft is in the pinned comment, and the sceneries as well, exclamation ARR or exclamation DEP for the sceneries. Alright, so no flaps, so we'll rotate at 75 knots. And then we'll climb at 88 knots. Alright, let's go. Here we are, nice engine sounds. T's and P's are all in the green. We've got max RPM. Airspeed is alive. And there's rotation. We'll pitch up. Gear can go up. Again, really nice sounds. And let's get the aircraft trimmed out at about 88 knots.
After 400 feet, you can reduce the RPMs a little bit to 2500.
Right, okay. We'll do that. Alright. So, we'll reduce RPMs then to 2500. Alrighty.
2500.
2500, okay. Yep, there we are, 2500. And we'll make a right turn. We pretty much need to make a 180 here. And we'll climb up to something like 3,000 or 4,000 for the cruise. It's not too long of a flight. M1 who made the departure scenery. Well, thank you very much for letting me know. It's a fantastic scenery. All right. Right, this heading will be just fine. Pretty much going directly to the airport. Set our heading book there. All right. And we're nicely trimmed. We're a little bit faster. What's that, around 92, 93 knots, but that's fine. Yeah, nice scenery in Norway. Very nice. Guys, let me know if the sounds are okay. Hopefully you can hear these beautiful engine sounds. And the aircraft does fly very nice. The flight model is fantastic. Like I said, I've never flown it in real life, this aircraft, but to me at least it does feel good.
We're tricking the flight model, so because for us it's very important that you are able to hand fly your aircraft. Otherwise, what's the point, right, of having a general aviation than just doing the same as you would do like in a jetliner, just enable the autopilot and there you go. So this is something that we took very particular care about, like really being able to hand fly the aircraft.
Yes, and I noticed in particular during the takeoff rotation, and actually when landing as well, it's very, very smooth. I find sometimes GA aircraft in the sim are a little bit twitchy, especially and on the ground, you know, with the taxiing and stuff like that. But this aircraft is nice and smooth.
Yeah, we went right through all the like technical manuals and information available besides of being there like with the real aircraft, just to make sure that we had the right stations in the weight and balance, that we had the right amount of aileron and stabilator and rudder that you need to have based on the specifications from Piper. We also have to create, and this is something that we developed, for instance, the Seneca. That's like the stab tab, because these aircrafts, they have the stab tab. They don't have a stabilator with an elevator. They have a stab tab that moves completely, that actually controls the pitch, and then it has the trim at the end. But that's a servo tab. So we were able to reproduce the behavior of the full elevator assembly properly. And another important feature that we have both in the Seneca and the Seminole is that that stab tab is not a symmetrical airfoil. It's an asymmetrical airfoil, and it's an inverted asymmetrical airfoil. So thanks to the tools that we have in X-Plane, we're able to design an asymmetrical airfoil inverted, that we could add that to the stab tab. So that really helps with the balance of the aircraft, like their real counterpart.
That's really interesting to hear about the airfoil not being symmetrical. Recently, for a university project, we were tasked with making these aircraft that we designed and putting them in X-Plane, which was fantastic, given obviously I'm doing X-Plane as flight sim and as a hobby. So I took on that part, and you know, making basic aircraft and making a custom aerofoil and stuff like that is very, very complex stuff. So nice to see that you did that all.
Yeah, the thing is that
as well.
when you have a fixed tabulator, you don't need really to be asymmetrical, because it's not moving, it's fixed. The elevator is actually what it's actually changing the pitch of the aircraft. But in this case, when you move the control, the pitch control, you know, the joke, you're actually moving the complete elevator assembly. So when it's kind of free, you know, like it, and you will feel it like in the real aircraft when you start the engines, particularly in the Seneca, the stab, it's always like hanging down. But when you turn the engines and you have the prop wash, the joke auto-centers, because then you have the flow of the prop just going through that inverted airfoil. the staff, and that's what actually keeps kind of like the staff working in for this kind of aircraft where you have like a stab tab and don't have like just a stabilator and then an elevator. So that's a feature that's very important in this kind of aircraft, with this kind of a stab tab and not just a stabilator with an elevator.
Very interesting. Yeah, something I miss when I'm flying in the sim, now that I do some flying in real life as well, is the force feedback. You know, when you're flying in real life and before you take off and you're just, you know, sitting on the ground, of course the controls are all, especially the elevators, are just drooped down, and at different speeds the controls are heavier or lighter, and that's something I actually do quite miss. So it's a shame that force feedback yokes at the moment is quite expensive. Hopefully they come down to a more affordable range, but it really does make all the difference.
Oh, for sure. Yes, for sure. That's something that allows you to feel the weight of the aircraft and just be refine your movements. In the simulator, it's kind of hard because you don't have any resistance, right? Just the springs of the yoke, which I own also, like the honeycomb, and found that the yoke at least tries to mimic this kind of better than the rest of the jokes with that same range of price. So yeah, I love my honeycomb, to be honest.
Yes, we were just actually on the last stream talking about the honeycomb yoke. I currently have the Thrustmaster Boeing yoke, but since getting more into GA flying, I would potentially like to switch over to the honeycomb. Just cruising here at 6,000, flying very, very nice.
Yeah, once you go to your final cruising altitude, you would put your props to 2300 and close your cowling flaps.
Okay, let's do that then. So props 2300. There we are. What about the manifold pressure? What should we do with that?
The manifold pressure, you usually keep it as with the full throttle, because the manifold pressure is just like indicating you how much it's the pressure on the manifold from the atmospheric. So in this case of the atmospheric engine, with a constant prop pitch, it's fine if you want to keep the power. Now there's a table. If you just go to the sun visor and you just pull that down, you'll see which how the configuration of your RPMs based on your altitude and what's the indicated manifold pressure for you to get the power settings that you have on the fuel consumption that you are planning for your flight. Right, so you'll see on the left column there's the altitude, and on the top rows there's the RPMs, and based on certain power configuration. So you have from 55%, 65%, and if I remember well, 75%. So how many horsepower you get per engine, how many fuel gallons you consume by engine, and then the proper adjustment in the manifold pressure to get that power configuration.
Very nice. I didn't know that existed. Alright, we'll take a look at that in a second. I'm just trying to get my other cowl flap here closed. There we are. And get back on track. So, alright, so pressure altitude, we're at 6,000. We have power settings.
So if you're cruising at 6,000 feet, let's say that you want to go like 65%, that means 10.3 gallons per hour per engine. So you will put like 2300 on the RPMs, and then 21.7 on the manifold pressure.
Okay, so let's do that. So we're at 2300, and it was what, 21.7, which we're pretty much at now anyway. So that's
yep.
bang on. So alright, we can keep it at that. Very nice. I had no idea that was there. This is why it's so nice to be able to invite developers and onto the stream, because there's always things that, you know, we don't know about the aircraft, so it's nice to have you on board.
It's always a pleasure to be here and then just share with you and with your audience these kind of small things, because yeah, it's when you start, you know, this is something that I was always like commenting. It's cool to fly like the jetliners and stuff when you're starting, because that's what all the you know, all the people, including myself, when you start flight simming, you say, oh yeah, I want to fly a 737 or A320, you know, or whatever. But I mean, there's the whole procedure that you get into VATSIM, you get into all the stuff, and then yeah, you're cruising and you're flying an airliner, right? But if you really want to get into flying and be more thoroughly about your skills and update, you need to get into general aviation, and that's why everybody that that goes to study for a pilot, you know, you start with a small aircraft like the 150, 172. And then you start building up from there, right? It's important that you have a situational awareness of all your parameters, your fuel consumption, your engine, oil, mixture, and yeah, just to get to learn how to change the speed, the pitch, the attitude, how you can control with power, you know, like start climbing, or just even like when the aircraft is trimmed, you just reduce the power and start descending, and how you get into the new attitude that you want your aircraft in terms of balance and pitch and power, right? That's the way you learn really how to fly and how to control this an aircraft properly. So we are like Jetstreams and myself, we were we wanted to bring real like good aircraft, general aviation aircraft, for the guys that are just, you know, at some point or either starting and they want to have something particularly like the twin engine, have an aircraft that will help them to their starting and learning. And because flight simming now, it's an important thing when you go into a pilot's career, because it helps you to make a lot of mistakes and understanding when you go to the flight school, and then you practice yourself even more. So it's we wanted to bring this kind of like aircraft that was, the flight model was more accurate. I mean, it's hard to get 100% accurate to the real thing, right? Because there's a lot of things that are involved into a real flight. Even that you have the real weather, that stuff and everything. I mean, each aircraft behaves differently, even for the airliners. So getting at least a standardized version of an aircraft that you're going to fly with the procedures that, as they are stated in the POH, that, let's say, that's a standardized aircraft, it's a way for you to get to be a better pilot in every sense. And that's our mission, and that's our philosophy with the Seneca, now with the Seminole.
Fantastic. Yeah, I agree with the you know, general aviation is a great place to start. Well, initially I got into airliners, and then as I started thinking more seriously about aviation, especially as a career, my goal is to go commercial. And I got more and more involved, and then basically when I started doing my PPL training, got more into general aviation aircraft, and it's a lot of fun. I have a new sort of respect for it. It really is great fun, and definitely in some ways more difficult than flying the airliners. You know, the airliners, you can, once everything's set up, you take off, you can stick autopilot on, auto throttle, it does everything for you, right? I love flying all these manual aircraft. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's something that's like really important. You know, with the airliners, particularly when you go into flight simming, I mean, you don't care a lot So you've seen a lot of guys like, oh, rate my landing, no, rate my stuff. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's fun, and then you can feel like you bother the aircraft, right? But when you go really into general aviation and get like aircraft like this kind of like twins or smaller airplanes, you learn, for example, how to do proper scanning of your instruments, so you don't get fixated with just one instrument. So you continue to keep your scanning, your airspeed, your ADI, your altitude, your HSI, your engine. So it's a whole procedure that you find that you need to like really train yourself to have this situational awareness and really feel when you're turning. And even in the flight simulator, I mean, you can see, you can start identifying when you're starting to descend, or you're in a control like level turn. And it's for me, this is really important. For example, something that most of the guys don't know, like for example, the turn coordinator, when you're practicing, is one of the most important instruments when you're doing time turn, because that turn coordinator, what it means, it's not just to keep the ball center, right? The ball center means you're going into a coordinated turn. So that means that you're not sleeping, or you're left or right, and you are following really like a curve where the aircraft is not sleeping. But something that's important is that when you level the wings of that turn coordinator with the second notch on the now, you see that there's a 2 minute, it indicates it's 2 minute turns, right? So when you put that the wings of that small aircraft to the second notch, and you keep your ball center with the rudder, that means that you will do a 360 turn in 2 minutes regardless. And that's very important when you're doing procedure turns timing. If so, that means that if you want to do like a 100 time in 1 minute, you will just use that instrument, of course, to keep a coordinated turn, and you will turn 180 degrees. Same applies, like 90 degree turn. You will do that in 30 seconds. So that's the small things that you don't care that much when you're going into it. You just go there and I did all my FMC stuff, blah blah blah. I feel like I push back, I push the throttles, I take off 400 feet, engage the autopilot, and there you go and start looking outside.
Yes.
So you're not flying, you're just enjoying your sim and stuff. And I mean, it's valid, right? It's at least at the end, everybody can use the simulator as they please and what they feel better. But we really want to give some tools for people that are going more into aviation and practice procedures, practice, for example, patterns. It's hard to practice patterns in the 737, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Control your speed and stuff. I mean, you can, right? But then you are going at with not a clean configuration at least 200 knots. So you will be,
Yes.
you will do a pattern, I don't know, like in China. when you're trying to keep your you're fine. So this kind of aircraft allows you to really practice your touch and goes, go there, be aware of what you're doing, and so
Absolutely. Yes, it's a different kind of flying completely to flying the airliners. It really is. Even little things like trimming the aircraft is pretty much the first 5 lessons I had. That was the most important thing. Get the aircraft in trim. If the aircraft's in trim, your workload is significantly less. And then when you start doing IFR stuff, little things like having the aircraft trimmed will just help so much. There's so much to learn with GA, and it's fantastic.
Another thing that also like brings something like an added value if you're simming, then you go like BFR. BFR flying is beautiful. When you have scenery that has landmarks and stuff, and then you know where it is, the mountain or the lake or the highway or the stuff that and then you just forget about like really tuning your voice and stuff, and then you just go that reckoning and go BFR based on the routes that you already know when you're flying. And I love to do that. When I was flying the Senecas I'm not going to say a couple of years ago, but some years ago, the only time I use, of course, the avionics and the radios was R, but mostly if I have like lovely weather, I go and fly BFR just because I just knew the terrain and I just knew the routes and everything. The only time I used a GPS was a GPS-3 pilot from Garmin, from new routes or new places that I needed to go, that there was like an airstrip, I don't know, like in the middle of the mountains. So I would go into my charts and I would just put the coordinates of the GPS, so it would be a bit easier, right? But once I knew the route, I mean, it's fantastic just to fly VFR and just go there and see, oh, there's the airport, make your pattern, make your approach, and that keeps you very proficient.
Yeah, that's something I can't wait for. At the moment, I'm at 15 hours, so I'm just pretty much been doing circuits, haven't really done any cross-country or navigation stuff yet, but I really can't wait for that. And flying VFIs, like the flight we're doing today in Norway, is beautiful terrain, so much fun, so relaxing, not worrying about flight plans and SIDs and stars and restrictions and all that sort of stuff, just flying and just really enjoying it,
Absolutely.
So the airport should be off our nose. I think it's just behind this this hill here. So I've descended down to 4,000. Do a little ice check. I don't know if this is a procedure for the Piper, but at least in the Cessna, you can do a quick ice check. Get a carb heat. No rise in the RPM, so no ice. Same on the other side. And we'll leave it on because we are descending.
Ice on the carb is really something, and it's good that you mentioned that, because one of the flights that I was doing, and this was happening in a 152, so there were no icing conditions. Okay, so we went descending. We started to descend from was around 11,000 feet to the airport was at around 5,000 feet, if I can remember well. But the air, there was the atmosphere was very humid. And then, of course, the temperature, even that it was no below zero at 11,000 feet at that time. When we start descending, and when we level off, of course, the condensation and the speed that we were descending with that, we got some ice on the car, and it's pretty scary. In a 152, you're approaching that, and you see it, and you hear the engine starting like.
Yes. Yep.
So, fortunately, we were not into the icing stuff, but yeah, that's something that you learn in that kind of story. You start pulling the heat on the heat in the carburetor, but yeah, it's, for example, this is something that it's hard to get into a simulator, right? Like this kind of things, but when you go there and start flying, that's things that you will never forget about. Like, okay, check your temperature. When are you descending? Like, kind of, even that there's no clouds on the atmosphere, right? It could be humidity on the atmosphere. And then when you start descending from a higher altitude with a colder layer, and to even like a hotter one, I mean, you could get ice in your car because of the speed that you're descending. So
Yes, there's so much more to think about that you know you can't understand. One thing which really surprised me actually, and it's a pretty small thing. First flight I had in the 152, and the fuel gauges were just all over the place. So I mentioned it to my instructor, thinking, is this some sort of issue? Turns out, just don't use the fuel gauge. You check the fuel before you go flying. You know how much you put in. The 152 uses 6 gallons an hour, so you can use that. Which was quite surprising actually, because you know in the sim it's constantly looking at the fuel gauge, in real life it was quite surprising that at least in the 152 for non-cross country ops, we weren't really looking at the fuel gauge. We were just purely by time.
Yeah, because you know that those fuel gauges, particularly if not old ones, like you cannot rely that much on them. So it's the same. It's just go there during your pre-flight, you check your fuel gauge, and then you add the fuel that you need, and certain that you have certain amount of fuel for a particular amount of flight time.
Yes.
And there you go. You did a nice pattern approach.
Just about, yeah. Maybe not completely procedure, but there's all sorts of terrain in the way over here, so.
Yeah, but this time you should have like the landing gear down, flaps steady already, 90 knots on your approach, and full prop. Low pitch, that means full prop.
Yep. All right, so props, landing gears down, we've got flaps. Gonna get a bit low here.
And you keep to 90 your approach speed.
90 knots, okay. We'll speed up a little bit, there we are.
Yeah, and then just bring back the slowly and pull the nose just to.
There we are.
Yeah, that's it. Beautiful.
Nice. And yeah, the aircraft flies so nice.
Butter.
Butter, yeah, absolutely. Right.
Butter.
It's like the airlines, right?
You've brought this thing, give me a butter.
That's what we're gonna do every time. Now when we go to our next destination, everyone's gonna be expecting another butter. Alright, so that was the longer leg of the two. The next leg is a little bit shorter.
But nice job, your approach and everything. Good. It's really nice.
Thank you very much. I can't wait to be flying these multi-engines in real life, because you know, just getting the real world flight training adds so much to then, you know, you can bring it back into the simulator. You know, right now with twin engine stuff and even constant speed propeller aircraft, I don't really know all too much what I'm doing procedure wise, right? But 152 I'm pretty good with procedure wise because I fly in real life. But yeah, I can't wait to be flying these things for real.
Well, what you just did here, of course, it's a little bit more to get into it, but it's practically what you do in the craft, like in the real one.
Yes. All right, we'll just park over here.
And something, for example, that's important in this aircraft, for example, when you're descending and you're starting to level off and you have speed, one thing that helps you like reduce your speed is the landing gears. So when you get below 130 knots, the first thing is landing gear down. That will start slowing your speed. You get into 110 knots, flaps 10, and then you start to descend. As you're approaching your final approach fix, you add another 20, another notch of flaps. That will be flaps 20. And then when you're just before your final approach fix, it's full flaps. In a pattern, what you would do is when you're in the base leg, entering the base leg, to enter the speed, you will lower your landing gear and flaps 10 all the way down to your base leg. When you turn to when you turn, sorry, when you go to the when you're going upwind. So when you turn to your base leg, that's when you put like flaps 20, and finally you will put flaps 30.
I see. Right. So is flaps 30 the standard flap setting then for landing in this
Sorry,
aircraft?
it's flap 40.
Oh, 40. Okay, got you. Right.
Yeah, it's 10, 20,
Right. I see. All right. So there we
and
are.
you keep your speed always like 90 knots. That's your reference, and the descent speed, like the vertical speed, it's 500, 700. So
Right.
that will
Got
give
you.
you like smooth power.
Perfect. And see, we didn't show it on that flight, but there is a basic autopilot system as well in the aircraft. It's quite easy to use if you know how to fly the one that comes with the Cessna 172. Sorry, then you'll be absolutely familiar with this. It's not too difficult at all. But we like hand flying in these beautiful VFR conditions, and just look at this airport in Norway here. How beautiful. Alright, well, I know we just shut off the engines, but we'll start them back up and get on our way to our next destination. It's a shorter trip this time. So that was 51 nautical miles, and this next leg is just 39 nautical miles, so not too far. Hey Nathan, welcome. Thank you very much. And Shakovic, welcome as well. Hope you guys are enjoying. And of course, if you do have any questions for Captain Iceman, then do just add them to the chat. That is the whole point of today's stream. Perfect. Yeah, very nice. And even on the landing, it's so nice to, with a flare and on the ground, it's not touchy at all. It just handles beautifully. Right, so we'll actually just get the mags off. We'll leave the left on because we're just going to restart the engines anyway and head back pretty much. But we can have a little bit of a nicer look at this now we're on the ground. And you can see there's actually a bit of a checklist as well, and a landing checklist. Some notes here. That's really nice. I had no idea this existed, so that's perfect. Nice little reference there. Beautiful. And guys, if you put !dev in the chat, it should give you a link to the Jetstream Discord as well, if you did want to go ahead and join there. So let's go ahead and restart the engines then. We've got our batteries on, alternators on, carb heat off, cow flaps are, they open? They are indeed open. Perfect. So we'll, left mags are on. We'll go ahead and start that first. So we'll make sure full rich, we'll crank the throttle just a little bit. And we'll engage the starter here. There we are, beautiful. So I'll just hold the toe brakes down here a little bit. And alright. We'll actually open that. And we'll go ahead and start the other engine. So we'll make sure full rich, crank the throttle, mags on. There we are. Beautiful. Alright, so let's go ahead and taxi to the runway again. Fantastic.
Yeah, the scenery is lovely.
Yeah, Norway is beautiful. It really is. This is just auto right now, actually. Running very well.
Is this the last version?
Yes, yes. Latest version. 0.7.2.
Yeah, I tried out over so not working for me.
Oh, really?
But this is looking really nice. I might give it another try.
Yeah, Yeah, feel free if you have any issues with it. It's not the most stable software. Do let me know and see what I can do to help. I'll use as much runway as possible. As my instructor said, the most useless thing in aviation is runway behind you, so...
Absolutely.
Alright, there we are. I'm just going to preset my heading bug here, so we need around 121. Oh, wrong one. So set that. Perfect. Alright then, let's go. There we are. Max RPMs. T's and P's are in the green. And airspeed is live. 77 knots, it will pull up. Such a nice rotation. And alright, gear can go up. Beautiful. Alright, so got a positive rate. Flaps can go up as well. It's really nice that you can just hold the button so you know they go up smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that they did a good job in laminar studying the feature, because this is something that, you know, particularly in this aircraft, when you have like these mechanical flaps or the Thompson bar link, you know, you just feel the, I mean, you cannot feel it here, but you feel the resistance of the can actually bring them on. There's a small trick when you're heavy. I never use it really, but if you hold them down, if you hold them in the last notch position, it will give you like an additional 5 degrees of flaps or so. But I never use that, not even in real life.
I guess in real life you'd have to like physically have to hold it, right? Like hold it up to use that additional sort of 5 degrees.
Well, the thing is that you have the notches. 10 degrees, 20 degrees, and 40 degrees position. So you can, if you are like going from, let's say you're 120 knots, and then you want to start, and you're like, oh my god, I'm still going too fast, landing gear is down, and I need to just, you know, do like a kamikaze descent or something like that. You start pulling the flaps a little bit, so you until you get into the 110, and then you just put the whole 10 knots, 10 degrees.
I see. Beautiful. And I gotta say, I know I've said it a few times, but the sounds on this aircraft are something really special. They're really nice. Just a different, you know, the little changes in the pitch and this and that as you're flying, you can, it's really immersive.
Yeah, we were able to we were very fortunate with this aircraft, because one of my guys on my team, that's a very good friend of mine, his name goes by Maverick in the Discord. His son started to study like for pilot here in Montreal in the Santa Berta airport, and they have the Seminoles, and I was just thinking like which would be the next aircraft for after the Seneca, and since the Seminole is popular among trainers in schools, and said okay, and we had kind of a platform from the Piper from the Seneca, so that yeah, it makes sense for us to make a Seminole, particularly we have access to the real aircraft. And yeah, the school Air Richelieu was really kind to allow us to get there, to take pictures, to record sounds, to really practically have the aircraft for us during that time. Of course, it was a little bit on winter still, so there were not many operations per day at the moment. And then we got a chance to go again back in like midsummer in one of days that were like vacation days or holidays, and yeah, we finished taking all the the reference that we needed for the aircraft. So big thanks to DrishalMAC2 that allows to really get access to the real aircraft.
Yeah, I think it's great as well because this aircraft is commonly used for, you know, twin engine flight training, and a lot of people, including myself, use X-Plane in conjunction with flight training. It's such a useful tool in that regard. So it's fantastic to have these aircraft here to, you know, help us with our training, and that's down to developers such as yourself. So big thank you as well.
No, thank you for for practicing in our aircraft. That's,
So we're at 5,000. We'll do 65% again. So 2,300 and manifold pressure 22. So let's do that. We're holding 5,000. So we said 2,300 RPM. There we are. And it was, what was it, 22 for the manifold pressure. So we'll set that and just cruise.
Need to close the cowling flaps again to get to your cruise speed.
There we are. And earlier when I had one closed and one open, you could really feel it in the flight model as well. You could feel the drag on the right side was a lot more than the left side, and you know, we had a bit of a yawing action almost. So
there is a command that we have for closing and opening them with the keyboard. So later on you can just go and then it's like closing the cowling flaps or opening the cowling flaps. So you don't have to go there and then one after the other. But because this is something that I'm gonna be honest that I don't like very much, is this cowling flaps thing. I think that they react too much too quickly to how you're operating them. The aircraft is a bit smoother, but I mean this is kind of the things that you are on a flight sim, and then it's very hard to control. It's very hard to control in the flight model. So that's one of the tiny things, and I'm always honest with our flight models and with our products. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about things that I think that we're still missing there. Fortunately, we are within the developers group with Laminar Research, and we've been putting out a little bit of these things on how to have better surfaces that are inherent to the aircraft, like the cowling flaps, to have better control on them, because if you go one first and the other one, I mean, there's it reacts very quickly to just removing the cowling flap.
Right. Yes. So, a couple of questions then. In terms of aircraft development, of course, you had the Piper Seneca and now the Seminoles. What got you started in aircraft development for X-Plane, and sort of how did you get into X-Plane yourself?
Well, it's a long story. First, I'm still a pilot. I flew, I did my training back in the 2000s. First for my PPL and then for my PCL, and then I went to, after I have the commercial license, I started flying a couple of Senecas back in Mexico. It was two or three. Two of them were Seneca 2s, and there was a Seneca 3 that I was flying for a guy that owned them, a charter. So that's what I fell in love with the Seneca, aside that I did my commercial and my twin engine on the Seneca back then. I used to use 2004 a lot to really develop my flying, and this is what I'm saying, like everybody was saying, hey, it's a game. Well, it depends on you, right? And it could be a game to just go and search up for your uncle's house and, you know, your cousins and stuff like you can do in Flight Simulator 2020, and it's fine, right? But I got really seriously into using it for training, So after that, I was a flight instructor also back there in Mexico, and I got my bachelor's degree in pilot. As a pilot, you get a bachelor's degree at some point in Mexico. As a pilot. After that, I had the opportunity and the chance after flying the Senecas to go and fly my first jet. It was an executive jet. It was a Hawker Siddeley 425. I really enjoyed that. That was the first one, and then from there, I had the opportunity to go and do some tryouts from some airliners. And I flew the Boeing 737-200 and 300 for a couple of airliners back in Mexico. All I was is of course like in terms of like when I was a flight instructor, like with the guys and everything, I have to use the scene to actually get after the debriefing and stuff that I think that they need to be improved, how they can work into the scene with the aircraft that was available at that time for a flight simulator, and then came Flight X. It was a little bit better, but still top seeing it's a game and then training. So when I then moved back to here to Montreal, where I live, about 8 years ago, for whatever reason I had to stop flying, and I start looking for something to at least to keep me current on the procedures and the stuff that I used to do, and that's when I discovered X-Plane 11, because at that point FSX, I think it was a very old platform. Prepare 3D was kind of the continuation of FSX, and I heard some good stuff about X-Plane that was certified by the FAA for desktop and stuff, and that you can have that same certified platform for your desktop. So I got into X-Plane 11, and then there was some stuff. I found some aircraft pretty good, like the XX 737-300. That when I bought it, I felt like it felt like home. Just felt like home. Like it was such a very well done and beautiful done, and the parameters and everything are like pretty close. It had some things on the FMC and the autopilot that people were complaining because it was not doing the LNAV or the descent and stuff, but that's not how you do it in the real aircraft. In the real aircraft, you just go and do your level change, set your airspeed to 280 knots, calculate your descent, and then you just press the level change, and then you do your descent. I never use the FNC for doing the descent. I mean, just not even the climbs, just the cruise portion. And of course, being a Mexican, and I have learned in Japan, that was in a smaller general aviation port just in the outskirts of Mexico City. The elevation of the airfield is 88,120 feet. And we call it the aircraft carrier because it's very critical, it's like, on a plateau. And everywhere else there are your crevices and then you need to size. You have like these like downwinds and stuff that are happening. So not many flight schools that were not in Atizapán and that were based in other airports around Mexico City area, they never wanted to go to Atizapán because they said it was too dangerous. But that's where a bunch of guys we train. So I miss it that so much that I started into first doing some scenery and getting into doing some terrain, and I went to find out all the insides and outs of doing terrain for X-Plane. So I was able to reproduce at least the first tile for the Mexico City area and have the airport of Atizapán the way I used to knew, and that's how I started really developing for X-Plane. After that, as I said, while I was flying the Senecas, I flew all around the country, like in BFR routes and things and everything, just getting people here and there, small charters like landing in like gravel strips or like grass strips in the middle of a valley and the top of a mountain, like near the beach, you name it. And so I decided to create the scenery of Mexico, and I created Total Mexico. I studied industrial engineering as well, so I have some background in engineering, have background in engineering and coding and things. So I developed Total Mexico, and with better resolution and stuff. And I started like correcting all the tiles for Mexico. So you have the whole country of Mexico. It's almost 2 million square kilometers without clouds, without color patches and stuff, and everything with an app that you can just download and download the tiles that you want, or you can just download the whole country. That was like my first big development, of course, aside of the scenery of the Tizapan airport. And at some point I was happy there because I kind of have like the aircraft that I liked in X-Plane 11. I mean, I bought the Carenado Seneca 2 that was okay-ish, but fun. And then when 12 came, the aircraft stopped working really, at least for my standards. So it was not more fun to fly because of the change in the aerodynamics and all the things that they were improving to the flight model. I mean, originally it was made for X-Plane 12, X-Plane 10. It worked in X-Plane 11. So with the background that I had, like developing the series and stuff, I started looking into making it work the way I used to know that the Seneca was working, at least in what I recall from my experience flying the Senecas for so long. And it was at some point that for the first thing that I got out was Seneca mod for Carenado, because I didn't have all to do the plugins and stuff and things, but I wanted to provide something. So the first launch that we had as Jetstreams was the Seneca mod for Carenado, while I was still cooking my own version. Okay. So that allowed me some sales and support, the great support for this community, to get some money to put into more serious development. And then I best plugins developers that I know, that's Jeffrey for the POH. So I told him how I wanted the POH to be really like academic at some point, that you can see the same thing that you have in the POH. It's the same thing that you will have in your web. CG is changing because in this kind of aircraft, it's very important that you are aware where your load is, so you can see, okay, I need to probably, it's a neutral trim, but maybe I'm heavy on the tail, so I will just add a little bit more trim to the nose and start feeling the aircraft in that way. So he did a wonderful work with design. That was the final piece that finally allowed me to brought the Seneca into play. Of course, I stopped selling the Seneca mod because there was no any more sense to sell Seneca mod and then have our own different Seneca.
Right, yeah.
It was a learning curve still when we launched it, because there were still some things that were not working, not in the flight model, a little bit of adjustments. So we continue to do. That's when I realized that the stabilator was not working, the stab tab was not working the way it should be, and to have the feeling and the maneuverability and the hand fly that I was looking after. So I started looking into more and more developing, and really the community was very supportive into bring the Seneca to the level that it is right now. And then that's when, okay, the Seneca, there was time that I was spending with the Seneca. It was like, okay, I need to improve this, I need to improve that. Go back to the programming, go back to the coding, go back to stuff, like the DMEs, like the real thing. Okay, so we'll get the DME to work as the AEF, the Viking radios, like all that stuff, all to like solid platform for the next aircraft, and of course provided Scenic. Then you have the people that's always asking you, like, we have this and we have that.
Sorry, I think Discord
No,
I think Discord is glitching out slightly. So let me just very quickly disconnect and reconnect because I can't hear you. So I'll be right back. Okay, hopefully that's better.
Yeah, that's better.
There we are. Perfect. All right. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I don't know if where I left. Where was I in all this? Because I started
You're talking about the Seneca.
About the Seneca, and then yeah. So my good friend Maverick, like he was like, oh, dude, you know, I want to participate, and I work here in Montreal. I work visual effects industry. I've been working as well for the visual effects industry for many years. Even that was like actually gave me the chance to study for pilot and pay for my licenses and everything. And yeah, I've been modeling and into CG and stuff from, I don't know, I would say like 30 years from. So the same as him, and he was like, hey, I want to participate into your next project, you know, maybe we had the chance, and we start talking about, and then what's how he was integrated into the team with the Seminole, which seemed a good idea. And yeah, so like let's bring the bar up a notch, and here we are.
Wow.
That's a story. I hope it was a long story short, but that's pretty much like, I mean, I have, so it's a lot of years, you know.
Yes. No, it's a fantastic story.
So it's like a question, what is the difference between the PA-44 that has the switches on the left side on this? Basically, it's just a new panel configuration, so you have all your switches and stuff in front of you, besides of having them just to the side of you. But the switches have the same functionality. Basically, the Seminole came after the Seneca, and the Seneca had that configuration of magneto switches and the starter switches on the left side with another panel. And even like there's the Seminole that we were doing first had the panel more kind of like the Seneca, but the school had this panel also, and we wanted to have just like a more modern panel feel and look that will allow us to accommodate more avionics and provide more options to people that fly. Because, you know, general aviation, I mean, each aircraft you get into it, and it's one has a GNS 530, the other was a 430, there are two 430s. Other guy just have like the G5 with a 750, but the two radios, and you can have like a bunch of. So try to like narrow those to the most popular ones, and but yeah, it's not easy to maintain to really maintain the variant. The avionics they were asking if we could have more stuff, but it just starts getting very complicated. If you do an update, you know, you need to make sure that they're doing the update in all the variants and everything. So it starts getting complicated at some point. But yeah, that's the thing. There's in the functionality, there's no between the panel on the right side, on the left side, sorry, with the panel with the switches that are on the front panel. Just a design that Piper did just to upgrade things better because you know that the Seminole is the only train that they are still manufacturing at this point. Piper, they went more for turboprops, single engines, which is fine.
Welcome, Oliver. All right, just on approach here. Yeah, I know someone was asking earlier in my Discord, so I told them I'd ask you, what's the main difference between the Seneca and the Seminole?
Well, of course, both are twins, right? But the Seneca is a more powerful aircraft. It has a turbocharged engines, so it has a service ceiling of 26,000 feet. It comes with a full de-ice option, so you have the hot panel. That's the one that's on the windshield. A lot of people are just for the crosshair for the machine guns. No, that's the de-icing panel that goes on the windshield. We have all the systems of the de-icing props. We have like the de-icing on the props. We have the boots on the wings. So if you it's more robust aircraft for doing IFR. Of course, it carries a lot of people. It's a more heavier aircraft, so it helps you with the transition of like a small twin, trainer, for saying so, like the Seminole, to go and start feeling a more heavier aircraft with more systems. You have the autopilot panel. I mean, it's an autopilot, but the Bendix King 200, that's the autopilot that we're mimicking. It's just behaves exactly like the real thing. But basically, that's the thing. It's a more powerful aircraft. Yeah, nice. Good job. Great landing. Great landing. And yeah, so it's this is why I will say, okay, we have like the Seneca, that's like a let's say in the middle of the twins and on turbocharged twins, because then you go to the, for example, the Piper Navajo, the Chieftain. It's bigger twin, still not turboprop, and actually that's the aircraft that's going to be next on our kitchen to start cooking. We also we already start cooking something, but yeah. So we want to have like the small twin, like mid twin and the biggest twin of the Piper series, and from there we'll look into where we're gonna go afterwards. It's hard to say. Maybe people are asking for Cessnas, but I think that there's Cessna 182. Would you have the Air Force Lab guys that are? We don't want like start competing with oh, your Cessna is better than mine. I think there's room for everybody. So
absolutely,
that's why nobody was doing the Piper. I think that there's a Piper Archer from Just Flight. I have it. I'm not going to say anymore.
Yes, I just reviewed it actually.
That's I don't use it too much, to be honest.
Yeah.
I used to fly at some point also, so I know that aircraft. So we're just gonna leave it there.
Right. I see.
Has its value. But they're asking for a single engine. I don't know. Go to single engine. I mean, there's a lot of. I think our Full Lives is doing a job. There's now people are asking for a 206, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, our next project, it takes so long to develop an aircraft. I mean, we're a very, very small studio. It's like 3 guys of us. It's just Geoffrey, who's in charge of doing all the codings from the GUI, like the POH and stuff. Myself, that I'm doing of partial modeling, sounds, coding of the whole systems, the aircraft flight model and stuff, and then Maverick is getting a little bit more into it. But yeah, it's to get an aircraft that I feel comfortable like offering to the people and to the community. I'm very picky at some point. It's like, okay, this is good enough. Okay. If not, I will keep going and going.
I think with the Seneca and now this Seminole, it's two fantastic aircraft. I think you've really sort of established yourself very well in the X-plane, especially the GA sort of market. So I'm confident that whatever aircraft you bring next will be fantastic and very well anticipated by the community as well. I know a lot of people were very excited for this aircraft. As soon as it came out, people asking me, "Oh, Drishal, are you gonna stream the PA-44? You're gonna stream the PA-44?" So yeah, lots of people excited, definitely.
That's the thing, because it's hard to get there, but it's more harder to maintain yourself there. So it's a little bit of you need to be like careful. Like when we were like finishing Seminole, just to launch it, I was like, okay, I remember, through all the steps that we went a little bit through the Seneca on our learning curve, and fortunately, I'm gonna say that it went better. I will say that the launch of the Seminole was like very smooth compared to the Seneca. You have like all these people like, but that. Okay, yeah. And fortunately, a lot of people ask us, like, are you going to plan to go to the org store? Because I have all my accounts there. No, we don't have any plans to go into the org store because we like to keep a more personal relation with the people that's buying our product at some point, in terms of being able to support them more face to face, for saying so, rather than to just put our aircraft, like in this massive place. I think that I see. I mean, it's good. I mean, other people prefer the store because it gives them a lot of the revenue that they get from such a place that is bigger and has more views and stuff. It's the org store, and at some point there was something else, but you should go into the org store to be able to say, yeah, but then I don't feel that I will be, at least myself, able to have the contact with the community that has bought our products like the Seneca and Seminole and even Total Mexico and stuff, the way that I've been interacting with them, and it's been great. It's been a journey. So I'm only so thankful for all the community and guys like you that come here and support us. I mean, it's great, and I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful to all the community and guys like you, streamers and stuff, that they want to stream our products, and here we are. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, it's a fantastic aircraft, lots of fun, and really well executed as well. I think you've done a fantastic job on this. I mean, the visuals, it looks beautiful. The texturing is great. The sounds are great. The flight model is great. And I really quite like the, the philosophy you guys have gone down, where you want a really authentic experience. There's not too much UI stuff. I mean, look, UI features are nice, but I think this is really nice and simple. It does everything we need it to do. I really like the look of this as well. It's just nice and easy to use. It has everything you need with the GTNs. If people have those purchased, you can use those as well. And then the fuel system and the oil system, I really like. That's not something I've seen on any other aircraft, other than, I guess, your Seneca has the same system. But I think that's really nice. Authentic. It really almost makes me feel I'm at the airfield and I'm really properly checking the aircraft and adding my fuel and stuff, not just doing it through a UI elements. That's actually quite a nice unique thing as well. And also, I should have shown it when the engines were on, but you can click this and you sort of get almost a headphone, I guess, simulation. It muffles the engine sounds, which is quite nice if you do want to do that as well.
Yeah. We waited that one particularly for going into bad sim or eval, because the engine sound at some point is so hard that you keep turning on the volume. It's easier to just plug in the headset.
Yes, let's quickly. I'll start the engines and show it off very quickly. All right. But yeah, no, that's a really nice feature as well.
Yeah, I was thinking at some point, like to add all these, like like the iPad with all these buttons. You don't have like the field deal, like like refill the aircraft button. You don't have that in this kind of aircraft in the real thing. So it takes you a little bit away of the immersion of really going into fly this kind of aircraft. You need to go there, check your oil. You need to refuel it. The Seneca still doesn't have like the refueling system that we have here in the pump. Probably we'll add it, but you can refuel it on the POH. Because that's a feature that just occurred to me when we're doing the Seminole, and I wanted to add at some point to the Seneca, but we're like really into still they're ready to add it to the Seneca. We're focused on the Seminole, so okay, let's add it to the Seminole. Let's see how it works, if it's working, if it's well received and things. I mean, we can add it to the Seneca later. The same thing for the G5. We will be adding it to the Seneca pretty soon. It's in final testing. We just need to make some adjustments to the POH to add the option to turn on the G5. And I mean, we are so pleased also to announce here that we will be supporting from the first day the TDS TGN XI 750. We already have it. We've been testing it, and we will be supporting it from the very first day it's out on the market.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. I've seen that that GTN 750, and it just looked very, very nice. So that'll be something. And I'm gonna
say that I'm not a very GPS guy. I'm more notice regular radios, but I'm going to tell you that is a fantastic add-on. It's really fantastic. I like it. So we are very proud that TDS at some point reached out to us to ask us if we would be integrated into both of our aircrafts, and like for sure we are integrating this. So yeah, we're announcing that from the very first day of release, it will be available for the Seneca and the Seminole.
Fantastic. That's amazing news. Yeah. Someone, hey Nathan, thank you very much for subscribing. He's mentioned in the chat he has 818 hours in your Seneca 2 as of January this year. Clearly very, very much enjoys the aircraft. That's amazing. Andre, yeah, absolutely. I think it's really nice to be able to invite the developer on and, of course, have you join us. It sort of adds there's a relationship between you and sort of the viewers watching the video, the stream as well, and of course there's all these features that I might not have known about that you can let us know, and it's just really, really nice. So very, very much enjoyed it. Thank you very much for being here.
No, it was my pleasure. Inviting us, speaking the name of our very small team, and to really thank all the community that has supported us since we started this journey with the Seneca, now with the Seminole, and we feel very, 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 very grateful. You can see there how the staff is behaving. So that's how the real thing behaves.
Yeah, that's really cool. Very, very nice. Again, nice to see that, properly modeled as well. Very, very nice.
So that behavior is not only modeled in the...
Sorry, I think you cut out there.
Yeah, that's a behavior that is not only in the 3D model, but is also in the flight model.
So it really does act exactly, as it should. It doesn't just in the flight model act as a regular elevator. It's all properly adjusted in the flight model as well.
Yeah, the flight model just behaves exactly like that. So you're looking at the real representation of what the flight model...
Very nice. Beautiful. Well, yeah, like I said, I think you may have cut out again, but I think that's just my internet potentially. But thank you very much for being here. Like I said, you're always welcome back on the channel, and we'll definitely keep an eye out for some of your future products and some of the updates as well. So, and guys, if you do want to join the Discord, then you can put !dev in the chat, and I'll edit the description and add it in there as well. There is a link to their Discord, so you can stay up to date with the aircraft as well.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure has been all mine.
Pleasure and an honor, and anytime you want, I will very gladly join you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Well, we're going to conclude the stream there. Final remarks on the aircraft are it's fantastic. You know, if you want a twin engine or just a general GA aircraft, then, you know, this is definitely a contender. It's absolutely fantastic. As you can see, I've got absolutely no issues with it. It's really great in all the departments. And something I haven't mentioned yet is that the aircraft is, let me check. When I looked at the price, I was like, wow, it is very, very nicely priced as well. So I think they've done a great job there. There's some add-ons which sometimes get overpriced, but there we are, $34.95. So I think that's a very, very fair price. In fact, I'd be happy, you know, to pay more because it's such a fantastic aircraft. So that's very well priced in my opinion and worth absolutely every single penny. So do go ahead and check it out from Jetstream. Thank you to everyone who has been here. Yeah, thank you. And I'll see you guys next week. See you in the next one.
Cheers. Don't forget to subscribe.
Thank you very much.